So I am here with my brother Forrest, and we just watched A Quiet Place for the first time in the theater here. Now, we both saw it in the regular theater when it first came out, but neither of us have seen it since then. And A Quiet Place is kind of a well-regarded Atmos film. Like, anytime you see like a best of Atmos list, A Quiet Place is typically on it.
For good reason, I would say, after watching it just barely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it's been 6 years since it came out. I think it came out in 2018, I believe.
Goodness, is it then that long? Man.
Yeah, it's been a while since it came out.
I do remember a few details about when I watched. I was in San Francisco at a conference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I went to a theater and kind of a dumb. I bought a Jamba Juice beforehand, and I was like, I don't know if they're going to let me in the theater. I can't hide this in my sweater. But I just walked through the door. They didn't even bat an eye.
They didn't care.
So,
They're not paid enough to care.
I guess that's probably it.
Oh, that's funny. Let's talk about the sound first.
Okay.
Because that was kind of the main point of watching it here. And because it is such a well-regarded film for its Atmos. And so obviously we're here in my home theater. It's a 9.2.4 Atmos theater. And so first impressions, what did you think of the sound, Forrest?
Man, it was really good. It's a kind of a unique movie. Like there are parts with like the swelling song, like the music and whatnot, but a lot of it is very quiet, right? But that just makes all of those, like kind of the jump scares are a little bit more impactful. We wouldn't necessarily want to give away spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Spoilers. We are going to absolutely spoil the movie.
Oh, we're going to spoil it.
Totally
Okay.
spoil it. So if you haven't seen it, be forewarned.
Okay, good call. So at the beginning, when we kind of, well, not the very, very beginning where we first encounter the monster, but like when we first encounter the monster in their home.
Yeah.
They're kind of downstairs, and then a monster like runs across you can tell that it's upstairs, and it is like straight Atmos, just right up over the top, and so effective.
Yeah.
But that part was awesome. There was another part that really stood out where she has the kitchen timer.
Yeah.
And like I saw her grab it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of guess what she's going to do with that. But then then I almost forgot about it, and then all of a sudden there was just this like ticking over here on the left, and it was just like very subtle. And I almost thought it wasn't part of the movie, and then I realized, I'm like, there's that timer. Oh, that's awesome. And then like so good though, so effective.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to watch this just on a TV with no speakers, maybe even with a soundbar. I suspect you would not hear that ticking. I guarantee you wouldn't hear it if you had just were listening through TV speakers. But even with a soundbar, I would be very surprised if that came through at all.
Yeah,
because like you say, it was subtle at first. Like it was just like this like ticking sound off to the side. I also had that thought going through the movie. I'm like, wow, there's such a dynamic range in this film because, I mean, it's called A Quiet Place for a reason. I mean, it starts out just dead silent, like in the beginning of the movie, I mean, and throughout much of the movie, like it really is just dead silent. But that makes those moments when there are a lot of sound just, like you say, that much more impactful. So a lot of times in an action movie, you have a lot of explosions, you have a lot of bass, you have a lot of action, a lot of everything, and it's just kind of all coming at you from all sides. And so it's just, you're just enveloped in it, which is great, which is awesome. But in this movie, it's like, oh my gosh, there is a creature off screen and it's right there. Or it's right there. And it's just like so unmistakable because that's all you hear. Everything else is dead silent except for this menacing creature that's coming at you from this side.
Right.
And that was really, really cool.
It was so good, so effective.
I can see why everybody talks about this movie. It's such a great Atmos.
And then, I mean, it did, as far as like reviews and whatnot, I mean, it did really well, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, they made a sequel to it, and then
a prequel.
and then a prequel. So yeah,
A bit of a franchise now.
yeah. And what I had the thought at the very end, this movie, the premise is kind of hokey. Like, it's kind of silly when on the face of it when you think about it. And so, I mean, when they set out to make this movie, they really were taking a risk.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't nail it, if they didn't execute well, this movie could have come off kind of bad. Like it could have been a really poor movie.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, and it's and you've got John Krasinski and his wife Emily Blunt. I mean, they're both the stars of it, and so like it could have been like, ooh. Yeah, that was a blemish on their career, but
right.
But man, no, it wasn't at all. John Krasinski did a really good job.
Yeah.
On this one.
Yeah,
and Emily Blunt, man, just her. I guess we were talking about sound, but like her acting in it was so good.
Some of the most intense scenes were with her trying to stay silent when she's in immense pain. When she steps on that nail,
oh my goodness!
I can't. I have to avert my eyes. I can't even watch. It is so awful. It's just like, oh my god, I just can't watch.
And the way they set it up so that you like see the nail, it's on the stair. It's like right in the middle of where they're supposed to step.
Yeah.
I mean it. Yeah, I couldn't watch either.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally closed my eyes.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
me too.
I'm not looking at this. Not watching.
I can't watch this. Yeah, it's so painful. Like you just feel it. I mean, talk about an immersive experience. I mean, you're just like, oh. And then, she's trying to stay silent, and she's got the creature, and it's going all around the room. It's just just wild.
And then she's so many spoilers here. She's like having the baby,
right?
And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why. I mean, obviously my wife can watch whatever movie she wants to, but like this is why I've never recommended this movie to her.
Yeah,
because she would hate it. It's that good. She would hate it so much.
It's true. It's true. It is so intense. So intense. Yeah, and this movie, I mean, I mean, it's a creature film. It's an alien invasion film, but I would put it in the category of horror, but not but it's like it's not just like a slasher flick. It's like smart horror. I mean,
yeah, and I think I've seen this debate. It's like, is it horror? Is it? I mean, it's definitely like a thriller.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got jump scares for sure, but there isn't really a lot of blood.
No.
Which
no.
I don't know if maybe that's how you categorize a horror, is like the amount of blood that's gushing.
Maybe, but I mean, like a movie like Halloween, there's like zero blood almost.
Okay,
and
well,
granted, it was made back in like late 70s.
Yeah.
But
what's interesting is, I mean, it really is kind of a family movie. When I say family, it's like it's a movie about a family,
right?
And you mentioned like Emily Blunt when she is doing the scenes like in the bathtub, and she's like having the baby and trying to be quiet, and like so good right there. But also like some of those moments where she's like talking with her kids, doing sign language, and like loosening the tension for them just a little bit, like a mother trying to help her child, like so good,
Yeah. So we've covered the sound. We've talked about the story.
Yeah.
What about the video? Like video quality? What did you think of the video quality?
So this one is always like hard for me as someone who doesn't. I don't know a ton about it, right? I'm just a movie watcher. I mean, that's my only credentials. But like obviously the picture is like crisp, so that's good. I mean, it was interesting that it's got like they tinted it. It's got like this red tint. It's kind of dark, which
it's kind of saturated.
Yeah. Which matched the overall feel of the film. So I think that was good. But I don't know. Like, did it seem high quality to you? Is that
Yeah, I mean, it was good. Like, I didn't have any complaints. Like, I mean, obviously it was shot on, with high resolution cameras, and it looked good. Like, there wasn't any. Yeah, movies that are shot today, like, the camera equipment has just advanced to such a degree that, like, movies today just look really good.
Yeah.
They just do. Like, there's not really, I mean, back in the day when they shot on film, it obviously a lot depended on, what type of camera and what type of film. I mean, there were lots of different film types to shoot on. Some were better than others. And some were better under certain circumstances than other circumstances. And so there were a lot more things that could go wrong. Whereas now with digital, and then in the early days of digital shooting, like in the early 2000s, I feel like a lot of those movies, that the digital photography just hadn't quite gotten there yet. It was still kind of in its infancy. And so movies shot in the early 2000s, I mean, they're like 2K, and that's as good as they're ever going to get, because that's the source material. That's what they were shot on. And so they're not great. But now the digital photography, the digital cameras are so high quality, so advanced, that they just look amazing, and it's kind of hard to screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we've got like the creatures and the I mean, they're CGI, right?
Right.
But I thought they were like pretty good.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
they were cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I was not like, I wasn't thinking like, oh, that's CGI. I mean, like it would, to me, it was just like they were filming the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit about like just the watchability. Sometimes a movie has like really good Atmos and whatnot. Like the sound is amazing, but you're just like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can get through this movie. You did your review on Twister, and it was kind of nostalgic for you.
Yeah.
I recently watched that one, and like, I had never seen it before.
Your first time seeing it?
It was the first time I was watching it in my theater, and so I was watching it, and I'm gonna do Twister, and there were some parts I'm like, I don't know if I can get past this. It's like, this is. I mean, that truck. Anyway, we're not doing a review on Twister, but like, that truck is indestructible. I mean,
right.
It literally drove through like multiple walls, and it came out, and I'm like, they didn't even break a windshield. Like, that's anyway. So that one was like less on the watchable side.
Right.
This one is very watchable, except for that nail scene. Man, that part, I can't watch it.
Can't watch that. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Yeah, there are some movies out there. Another good example is Moonfall.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing sound, so painful to watch. Like, I mean, it's just so bad. It's so terrible. But the sound is incredible. Whereas this one, it's kind of the full package. It's a really watchable movie. It's so engrossing. I mean, I was sucked in.
Yeah.
And the sound is just incredible. It's amazing.
So it draws you in. I mean, like the beginning's just a little bit slow, but then that story once it starts, it is nonstop in this film.
Yeah.
And almost to the point where I'm like, I need a break. Like, I need just a little breather here.
Yeah.
And then it ends. It's only an hour and a half, so it's it's a pretty short movie. But
yeah.
I don't know, a movie like this, I don't think they can go super long, because you really don't have a break.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's intense.
Yeah.
That, I think an hour and a half is about all anybody could take, because it really is. Because once it gets going, it doesn't let up.
Right. I am curious to see the other ones now. I mean,
I am. I'm more interested. I mean, because I enjoyed this movie when I saw it in the theater years ago, but then the sequel came out, and I was like, I just didn't get around to seeing it. But now that I've seen it again, and I feel like the experience was so much more intense here in my theater than it was even in the regular theater.
Yeah.
It just felt more personal, more kind of in my face.
I agree. I mean, having watching it in the home theater was a cooler experience than being in the theater. I think I can't even remember. I just found a theater when I went and saw it, because, like I say, I was at that conference, so I wasn't trying to do anything special. But I definitely didn't hear that ticking like kitchen timer. So
yeah,
I mean, that I can remember.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Well, I mean, other than I think they really missed an opportunity of bringing Dwight Schrute into the film. Right? I mean,
they were even on a farm.
they were on a farm. I mean,
He could have been a neighboring beet farm.
if there's going to be some like alien apocalypse, who do you want to be with other than Dwight Schrute on his beet farm?
It's
So,
true. It's
yeah.
true. That was kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have come up with like an SNL sketch
There you go.
with Dwight in A Quiet Place. Ah, what a missed opportunity.
John looks over at him and he's like, "Hey," he's about to say, "Don't I know you?" And Dwight's just like, "Shh." That'd be great.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah. All right, Forrest. Well, thanks for coming over. Thanks
Yeah.
for watching this movie with me. And thanks for watching.